Anyway, this is forging part 14, 15, 16. The last time I legitly forged something was, the last time I forged something was around 2010 or 11 when I was working. And then when I personally started doing freelance work, it was around 2012. And when I started not doing that, when I personally forged stuff like my lance, my gauntlets, my chainmail, and my spear and stuff, it was around 2015 or 16. I've been forging it all. But there are two types of forgings in terms of temperature, and there are a few different methods of forging. Ooh, my bad. There's cold forging, there's hot forging, cold forging, and hot forging. There's also space and water forging, underwater forging, but they haven't really fully gotten to those yet. Cold forging is when you forge metal without heating it, or you forge metal by heating and then freezing it. And if certain steel get heated, but then it's rapidly frozen, and then you start forging afterwards. Cold forging, hot forging, and then there was you the heating the metal. It can be to any degree, but the main form of hot forging is when the metal starts turning orange, because it goes from orange, yellow, 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 red, pink, 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 purple, then white for some metals, and then some metals go green, if I remember correctly. And then how, as far as about machining, use a machine to do it, use a power hammer, use a die, use an old school anvil, and all that stuff. Like way, let me think of the oldest country: Africa, China, Egypt, somewhere in Europe, Native America. Like the older method of forging is usually just being something out with a stone and stuff. That's cold forging. And then it became to sharpening in a cold forging, and then became to heating it, which is hot forging. In Africa, you just use a bunch of trees you can find and dig into the dirt, and you have a forge. In medieval, they started with doing the same thing, but they went to forgers, so did China, Egypt, and Native America. They eventually went to forge when they figured out right, when certain tribes figured out that they didn't like nomading. Nomading is good. It's what you guys are, humans or Homo sapiens naturally are nomads. That's why you're so unhappy to use to stand in one place. It's too long. But like once they figure out that they can stay in one spot and form, they have food, water, shelter, and need and all that stuff. Food, water, shelter, clothing, and warmth. They figure out the forming method, and then they figured out they start doing like the Aztecs, the Incas, the Mayas, the Cherokees, and all that stuff. Like when certain tribes broke off and they didn't really, you know, nomad, man. I'm not gonna keep walking for where my animals are. That's why when people go live in the wild in the modern day, they die because they stay in a spot. They think their food supply is gonna last, or water supply is gonna last, or the weather won't change, and then they find out they run out of food. They don't have time to make enough trip back, and they die. That's why you be nomad. They have to go where their food supplies are. It's the same thing in Africa, but in Africa there's not really much place to go to. So for the animals to go to anyway, usually just water holes and you stay around it. And you can use that water to forge, do cold forging, because don't forget, cold forging is when you when you heat metal, then rapidly cool it by freezing temperatures, negative for the metal itself, or plastic or whatever. Anyway,